Hello, I'm Negative Infinity, and this is my Carnivorous plant collection. So I've got everything from Sarracenias, which are these guys, these guys, these guys, ooh, these guys, and these guys, to Nepenthes, so like things like this, and this. Whoa, where's the pot at? I'm sitting here trying to point at the upper part of the camera. Drosera, to this cross Miranda with a very immature picture. See if I can. That's also a cross Drosera over there. I said just Drosera, it's cross Drosera. Truncata right here. It's a very small truncata. These guys get to be very big with 14-inch long pitchers or longer. Most of these guys would be in little things of water. My behind the scenes setup over there. Oh, and that guy is a division of my flava, but I figured I didn't need to show him because I have the big mother plant here. There. Camera's panning was fixed. So this is ventricosa, excuse me. So you can see it's quite a nice looking picture, and it's starting to get that frilled scalloped edge. In fact, it is loaded with nectar right now, so I'm going to do a little demonstration. You can see I've got a little bit on my finger. So let's turn this thing around. Just to prove it's just nectar. It's the same stuff you'd find on flowers. It's actually quite sweet. Sweeter than flower nectar even. So it's good stuff. I haven't gotten the chance to do that in quite a while because I've always been just letting the plant gather up all this nectar, but they build up so much nectar, it's just like it basically covers the outside pretty much, and it makes it all glazy and stuff like that, and it becomes very sticky, and the insects go on that and they don't slip into the pitcher. So I tend to clean it up a lot, and it's a waste of good nectar. So these guys also produce nectar. Of course, I won't be tasting their nectar because it is laced with the same chemical that is contained in hemlock. And if you know anything about poisonous plants, you'll know that hemlock is one of the most poisonous plants in all the world. So I do not want to be drinking that nectar or sipping on it or anything like that, licking it or anything, because it is toxic, although minorly toxic, and even the insects that drink it take a long time knocking themselves out with it. But that is, as I believe, sheerly Sarracenia thing. I'm not sure if it's also with the purpurias that I have over here. Speaking of purpurias, segue! I love segues. Actually, we probably shouldn't segue because I still didn't finish talking about Nepenthes, and I didn't get into Drosera either. So let's start with my Nepenthes, because that's where everybody likes to, the first thing they will like to see is the Nepenthes. And actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, everybody loves to see the Nepenthes. You guys are gonna leave the video midway after you see the Nepenthes. So let's start with the most boring things, at least in most people's opinions. That opinion does not reflect mine. The Drosera. This is a Drosera affinis from South Africa. They are kind of rare in cultivation right now, even though they're very easy to grow. They're on the incline in cultivation now because so many people are just like, oh my god, they're so easy to grow. In fact, these are much easier to grow for me than my binata. Segue. This is my binata. Ooh. Man, I have a trouble time looking for that camera now because I'm just like, oh, hold it all the way down here. You can see it's making a few different ones. There's a couple of little ones down there, little curlicues, ready to grow. So this guy has caught quite a few insects, and let me show you what he's caught. They caught these little things that are in their water dish, and I have no idea what they are. Let me go see if I can see a couple more in there. There's one. Let me see if I can show you him. Let me move my SD card over there. These guys have been falling into their dishes, and I have no idea what they are or why they are. Sorry about the focus. My god, that was bad. That would have hurt my eyes too. My god, that flinching is bad too. Yeah, those. No idea what they are. But it's been feeding on those. There, flinching's fixed. I've been picking them out of the water and feeding them to them as well. So they get a little bit of everything. Not all the water bowls are that clean either. In fact, the Purpurea water bowl is the cleanest. But it's only because I haven't washed out the Drosera water bowl in a while. Because it's got those little cuttings that you saw in there. So the next thing we're going to do is the Venus flytraps, which are everybody's favorite carnivore. Not mine. That opinion does not reflect mine. My favorite carnivores are naturally the Nepenthes. Although I'm madly in love with my Sarracenias and my Drosera. But these guys are really cool too. They're just not my favorite. And I have quite a few of them. And I have a little guy that I just bought from Walmart not too long ago that I had to trim down all of his leaves. I'm hoping that he'll survive and make more before winter comes and he has to go dormant. Yay! Everybody loves dormancy. So I've got quite a few traps on this guy. These come from multiple different sources. The smaller ones came from Lowe's and the bigger one came from Walmart, same place I got this guy from. In fact, this guy is probably a clone of this guy, or a division of the same mother plant that this guy came from. So basically they probably both came from the same mother plant, because they were both from the same growers, and they were both from the same batch. So I'm assuming that they were both divided from the same mother plant at the same place. So this guy gets a disease, most likely this guy is going to get a disease. This is not potted in pure sphagnum. That's just the top dressing I decided to use for it because it's very small, and smaller fly traps should be basically coddled. And the best way to coddle them is to give them a light, airy mix that holds a good amount of water. But then once they get bigger, then you want to give them something that's a bit more dense, because their roots can handle it. These guys, the roots are pretty much gone, so I don't want what's left of the roots to rot off. So I gave them a basically a 75-25 mix of peat perlite and oh no, I didn't put perlite in it. I put peat moss and sphagnum, and I top dressed it with sphagnum. So it's not all pure sphagnum, like I said. Underneath there is a mix of peat moss and sphagnum. Just for peat moss for retention of water, because if you just use sphagnum, it'll drain all out. I tend not to water these guys too often. These guys have really strong white roots, so they're good. Also, white roots are a good thing to look for with plants, especially carnivorous plants, because they tend to lose their roots because of how moist they like their environments to be. So their roots tend to rot off. And also with Sarracenias, they replace their roots every year, so white roots are a good sign of growth. Let's go zoom out again. So the next thing we're going to move on to is the Sarracenias. One of my least favorite Sarracenias, it was my first one, is the Scarlet Bell. And the only reason it's my least favorite is because it really is kind of not so good looking when you compare it to something like this Yellow Jacket there. But it's a nice looking plant. It's been on the fast recovery. When I first got it, it looked like absolute crap. Now it's doing good. It actually looks like what it was supposed to be looking like. And man, all the traps are nice and pink and white, like they're supposed to be. It's got the Leucophila color in it. I like that. It's doing pretty good. Like I said, it's just because it's my least favorite doesn't mean that I don't like it. Now this is my yellow jacket. My mom bought me this plant. It is, again, it's a cross of the, it is a purpurea cross with Drosera and flava, I believe. Oh, look at that! Just from me being out here. I didn't even see it. Last time I was out here, this was not opened. And that was only a few hours ago. Let me get a good shot of this. That opened up. That newest picture. Don't you just hate how cameras don't focus on the foreground, they focus on the background? It's retarded. You'd think that the first thing they should focus on is always the foreground, because that's the, more often than not, the target that you want to focus on. So this is the pop lid of a picture. This is a deformed picture. This is a good look, a good, well-formed picture. And this is also a good, well-formed picture. And this is a baby, so we're gonna see him form into one of these. And he's even less deformed than these guys, because these guys had cracks in their pictures when they were young. So he's gonna get real nice looking. Can't wait for it. It's gonna get nice purple stripes in him like that, instead of that solid pink color. So back to these guys. My mom bought them for me from Sarracenia Northwest, growcarnivorousplants.com. It's just growcarnivorousplants.com. I know I made it sound like it was Sarracenia Northwest, growcarnivorousplants.com. It's actually, the company is called Sarracenia Northwest, and the domain is growcarnivorousplants.com. So these guys are called the Yellow Jackets. Sarracenia Cross Yellow Jacket. You can see that right here. Ooh, you can see that water just spilled out of there. So this guy is, like I said, a cross between Drosera, flava, and purpurea. And you can see some of those are really purpurea colored. Especially on camera, they look so beautiful. I'm going to take a couple pictures of that. Bend this tag back a little bit. I'm a bit of a photographer, so I'm always looking for a photography moment, a little chance to take a photograph. My camera also takes photographs and videos at the same time, so that's what I was doing. You can see that some of them, the recent pictures are very green, and the later pictures, or the earlier pictures, I mean, are very red. And as time goes by, it will stop producing pictures, and all these pictures will turn solid red, as they said. I'm not sure if it'll be solid red, or if they'll just be like these purpurea looking pictures. It's very purpurea looking. If you compare these to my Sarracenia purpurea, it's very purpurea colored. I love that about it, especially on camera. Like off camera, it's very dull colors, and they really enhance the colors here. So, it looks really nice on camera. So, yeah, I like that. They're actually quite yellow. Like, you can kind of see this guy's like really neon green. So once they turn solid red, they say just clip them all off and get the next seasons ready. So I'm going to repot this guy, divide him, and sell a couple of divisions. No, I don't have a website so that you guys can buy them from. I sell them to people around my neighborhood. Yet, my God. Do you have to be noisy? So, they're nice looking plants. Moving on to my favorite Sarracenia in my collection, Sarracenia flava, variation ornata, black veins. That guy right there. So you can probably see that he has a bit of red veins, not really black. And you know, I don't know if my display really enhances things. So I might have been wrong about the color enhancement of these guys. It might not actually be enhanced on video, but my display on this camera really enhances things. So It looks very, very nice and black veined to me. Also note that this is going to be a long video. I'm terribly sorry for those of you who are bored out of your minds. I can tend to be a rambler sometimes, and sometimes I don't go anywhere with my videos, so be warned. This guy's my flava, obviously. I spent years and years and years looking for one of these guys, not the black veins or the annotations, just looking for a flava, and I never found one. And finally, I went online and bought one, and this guy, I spent $35 on him, and I'm glad I did. It's my favorite plant in my whole Sarracenia collection. Not my favorite plant in my whole collection. That title belongs to this guy, my BGI. But, used to belong to my truncata, so pretty much everybody's thinking just the latest plant he gets is his favorite plant. But it's not that. It's just that I collect, when I see a plant, I buy it. Back when I was little, back like a couple months ago, I wasn't really little, I was like still 20. Back a couple months ago, I would just impulse buy everything. I'd buy, the first ones that I bought were my Miranda and my Scarlet Bell, and those are my two least favorite plants in my whole collection. Once this guy gets bigger, he'll be one of my favorite plants in my whole collection because I really do love how they look when they're bigger. But for right now, he's not looking so great. But I've been spending more money on things that I actually know that I'll like. So that's why I've been liking the later ones that I get, or they're my favorite plants, because I actually spend time thinking about it and spend time looking forward to it. So this is still my favorite guy in my Sarracenia collection, and because I really looked forward to getting him, and I still love my, my truncata over there. Still one of my favorite Nepenthes. It's my second favorite one. My third favorite being my, Ventricosa, then Drosera, then, Miranda. So that goes a little out of order of when I got them, because my Ventricosa was my second one I got, my Drosera was my third. But back to the flava, they're very tubular plants. They have a bunch, this area right here is really waxy, and then they have a bunch of downward pointing hairs down here, and then this part is filled with enzymes. So when an insect gorges themselves on this nectar, they get pretty much drunk and they fall inside. And then they can't, then when they try to crawl back out, they can't crawl back out because it's all waxy. Then they get stuck in these downward pointing hairs. The only way to go is down, and then they get dragged into this enzyme filled area. And if they don't go all the way down there, then this part with the hairs will pretty much dissolve itself and start building enzymes. And you can kind of see there's a dark patch right there, and that's filled with like flies, and I threw a daddy long leg spider down there, so that guy's down there too. And this guy's gonna open soon, so I'm really looking forward to that. So now, finally, the moment everybody's been waiting for, onto the Nepenthes. Let me move all my non-Nepenthes plants to the side. Which, surprisingly, no, I'm not going to finish that sentence because I don't know where I was going, so I know a lot of you are like, surprisingly what? I don't know where I was going with that, so. We're going to talk about the Nepenthes in order of how much I like them. Not in order of when I got them, which I normally do. Yes, I've made multiple videos and failed through to getting them uploaded, and then they were just improved upon, upgraded. I kept on growing my plant collection and things kept happening, so they're always out of date, so I just haven't uploaded them because I haven't had the time. This is my Miranda, and I know you guys are just like, get on with it! This is my Miranda. It's my least favorite Nepenthes. It's basically going to be a nice big, if you guys know what Maxima looks like, it's like a nice huge Maxima. Like, it's got Northiana's size but Maxima's colors, and Northiana's peristome. I'm gonna try to speed this up a little bit because I know you guys are just like, come on, I don't want to sit here for all this day. Then we got my Drosera. It's a, in case those of you are looking for the breeding, the parentage, it is Ventricosa, or no, alot cross Ventricosa. So alot cross Ventrata, which Ventrata is alot cross Ventricosa. Then we got Ventricosa, one of the parent plants, but not directly the parent plant, but one of the parent species. This guy I've had for quite a while. He's gotten like almost twice his size. Like when I got him, these were the only leaves left, and I clipped them off, and now this part's starting to turn. It's starting to turn like a stem. So it's like a little palm tree. Then we've got truncata. And this guy is making a new leaf. And that's the last one it made, and it just recently popped. And this guy, like I said, will grow like 14 inches long and wide enough to eat your hand. But like I was saying to multiple different people, they are static, they are not dynamic, they don't close their lid when anything falls inside. And I will now demonstrate with my Veitchii. Well, a lot of you are just like, don't do it! Let me see if I can get a good angle on this. Get a good angle on the dangle. As Generic B says. He's one of my favorite gamers. So, I stick my finger up inside there, just so you guys can see. There's actually a caterpillar in there and everything like that, so. I got stuck on the spikes. There's downward pointing spikes inside there, so when you get your finger up in there far enough, you're gonna have to cut that picture, because you're stuck. And that's one of the things that keeps insects from crawling out. Not only that, but that inside is quite waxy and slippery. And this peristome, which is the lid, is also quite slippery. So they crawl up on here, try to get the nectar underneath of the lid, or not underneath of the lid, underneath of the peristome, and they slip inside, and they get... My God, you have to be rude? Jesus Christ. And then they fall inside the fluid that's down in the bottom here. This is water. I keep constantly having to refill it. My God, can I not speak today? I keep constantly having to refill it because the plant drinks from the water inside of these reservoirs. It's called foliar watering. Orchids tend to do it as well. Bromeliads, orchids, Nepenthes, Sarracenias do it. So I think Helianthus do it as well. So I think just about all the pitcher plants in the world do it. And bromeliads as well, and some orchids. So this guy is my favorite because first off, he's the biggest. Second off, look at that peristome. That's already a beautiful peristome, and it's not even the expanded, fluted, outward flared peristome of the full-size Veitchii. This is the Hose Mountains variety, which is the highland variety of the lowland Veitchii. Which I'm trying to get a Veitchii bow, which is a lowland variety. Actually, it's an intermediate variety. That's all green. And although you think this guy is all green already, he's actually going to get a little bit more colorful with more reds in him. You can already kind of see how that peristome's got a little bit of rusty red in it. That's only because it's juvenile right now, and because it's got quite a bit of damage to that peristome. But, it's going to get more colorful later, as I recall. But yeah, the bow isn't like, I mean, there's sometimes like golden yellow peristomes on them, but most of the time it's solid green, and it's beautiful. So that's my carnivorous plant collection, for now at least. It's ever expanding, ever growing, and I'll continue to make updates on it constantly. But for now, Negative Infinity out. Peace.